I'm going to retire from boxing before I let boxing retire me.
That I'm not comfortable with. You know, I had a great career. You know, I've done some tremendous things in the sport of boxing. I made a lot of history. You know, what can I not be proud of if I walked away from the sport right now? You know, I don't have no regrets because everything that I did it my way. So if I was to walk away from the sport right now.
Terence "Bud" Crawford has officially stepped away from boxing. After many months of tension, legal battles, and public clashes with the WBC, the undisputed pound-for-pound star has made his decision. The fighter who ruled the sport without a single loss has chosen to leave it behind. Crawford is now walking away from the game that turned him into a true legend.
Retire, Bud. Retire, Bud. Is over. You ain't got nothing else to prove. Let's go fishing, Bud. Let's go fishing, Bud. Retire. Yeah. It's over.
Same fighter who ruled 3 weight divisions, unified championships, and moved with calm confidence is now finished with the sport. He has gone retired, stripped of his title, accused of breaking agreements, and challenged by boxing legends. Crawford says the sport he gave his life to and suffered for his Terence Crawford shocking exit. This is a story of betrayal, control, and principle that has shaken the boxing world.
I said that I'm going to retire on my own terms, and I'm going to feel good because everything that I did it my way.
It all started with one shocking announcement. On December 3rd, 2025, the WBC officially removed Terence "Bud" Crawford World Super Middleweight title. The decision sent waves of disbelief across the boxing world. The reason given was simple. Crawford refused to pay sanctioning fees for his last 2 fights. This included his massive $50 million clash with Canelo Alvarez.
He never paid the sanction fees for that fight. His next fight was Canelo Alvarez. He fought for the WBC title as well as the other 3 organizations, and he won the WBC title and he became undisputed, and he did not pay the sanction fees for the fight.
In a single moment, the fighter who ruled the sport saw everything taken away. His undisputed status vanished. His title was stripped. His bond with the WBC was broken beyond repair. But despite how sudden it appeared, those close to the situation say this conflict had been building for a long time.
He did not comply with the rules. Then he moves up to super middle and makes the fight of the century, beats Canelo, makes $50 million or around that. The WBC absolutely is not going to charge 3% of such an amount. We made a very clear 0.6%, which is $300,000.
Away from the headlines, Crawford anger had been building for years, slowly growing through broken promises, dirty politics, and a sport that often turns on the fighters who lift it up. He was no longer only battling rivals inside the ring. He was battling the system itself. Even before the WBC issue erupted, Crawford was already deep in another fight. This one took place in a courtroom. A lawsuit that placed him against one of the most powerful names in boxing, promoter Bob Arum, and his company Top Rank. In his explosive filing, Crawford accused Arum of breaking contracts, committing fraud, and showing racial bias.
I wanted to give a real quick snippet of what I just found out. So Terence "Bud" Crawford just filed a lawsuit against Top Rank and Bob Arum, claiming racism and bias against black fighters.
Crawford says Top Rank promised to make a unification fight with Errol Spence Jr., the bout fans wanted most, but failed to deliver it. He explained that in 2019, there was an agreement stating that if Arum did not make a real offer to Spence by the end of 2020, then Crawford would receive $900,000. According to Crawford, that money was never paid. Instead, he was left stuck on the sidelines, shut out of the biggest opportunity of his career. He claimed Arum shifted focus to other fighters, and then came the most serious accusation. Crawford said Arum continued to make racist and offensive remarks that harmed the image of black boxers, including himself.
Crawford is actually asking for $10 million in damages. He's basically stating that none of the fighters want to speak up. They don't want to say anything.
Arum fired back strongly and dismissed the lawsuit as pointless and irresponsible. He said Crawford claims were offensive and false, and insisted he had spent his career promoting fighters of color. He called the case a dishonest attempt to pressure him for money. That legal battle became a turning point. It drew a clear line between the fighter and the promoter. Not long after Crawford left Top Rank and promised to move forward on his own path and create his legacy his own way. But freedom did not bring peace. Instead, he walked into another crisis when the WBC took away his title. Crawford refused to stay quiet. He responded with full force.
Sanction fees, right? They ain't gonna tell me. I ain't even apologize. Like, who the fuck you think I am? Boy, you better slap your fucking self and paying your ass shit.
In an 8-minute viral video that shook social media, Crawford unleashed his anger at the WBC and dismissed their belts as empty prizes while accusing the group of pure greed. His message was intense, emotional, and filled with frustration built up over many years. He said the green belt meant nothing and claimed the only real title is earned inside the ring. He added that they could keep their belt because it was just a trophy. That single statement sent shock waves through the entire boxing world.
The WBC, and you got the fucking green belt, which don't mean fucking shit. Fucking real belt is the ring belt, which is free, motherfucker. Who you talking about? You want me to pay you more than the other sanction bodies because you feel like you better than them. How in the world all the sanction bodies agree to the same amount, but you sit your motherfucking ass up there and say that I need to apologize to you?
Some fans praised him as a hero who finally called out the double standards of boxing leaders. Others viewed it as a breakdown, saying a legend was damaging his own legacy. Even Errol Spence Jr., his longtime rival, stepped in to share his thoughts.
I mean, it makes sense, but I mean, I think he should have talked about it, before, because now he's talking about it when he don't need the WBC anymore. And he should have talked about it, way back when I said something, he should have spoke up and said something about it too, so I don't know, man. It is what it is.
That makes sense, Spence commented. But now Crawford is speaking out after he no longer needs the WBC. He should have said this when it really mattered. Strongly in Crawford's defense.
I never understand why we become champion have to pay for a belt. Keep that shit.
Yeah.
Keep it. I'm not gonna work 14, 15 years for me to pay for something I worked for. When I went to the Olympics, did I pay for that damn medal? No.
Speaking out what many fighters have quietly felt for years, Davis said, "I never understood why we become champions and then have to pay for a belt." He added, pointing out that fighters spend years earning their place only to be told they owe money for what they rightfully achieved.
If I walk into this arena without this belt, is these people still gonna show up? Yes. So keep the belt. You're not gonna take my money. With all due respect, you know what I'm saying? I just feel like, I agree with Terrence, you know what I'm saying? But I just don't agree with paying for belts. That's why, for all the sanctioning bodies, you know what I'm saying? And I told this to the one that I was under, the WBO. I told him, I said, I don't really believe in that. Right. And he explained why. And I was like, okay, but I still don't agree with it. You know what I mean? So I'm always gonna be for not paying for belt, because what the fuck are we paying it for?
He spoke what many were too afraid to say. If I step into this arena without the belt, people will still come. So why should I pay for it? For younger fighters, Crawford wasn't quitting. He was taking a stand. He was doing what few dared to do, openly challenging boxing's long-standing institutions. But the powers that be weren't going to stay silent. WBC President Mauricio Sullivan tried a diplomatic approach, yet the tension was impossible to ignore.
With $225,000 going to the Jose Sulaiman Boxers Fund, which is to help former fighters in need. And it is just regrettable. Not even a thank you or I'm sorry, taking a different route, no response. I wish him the best. But this is not. The WBC is huge, it's great, it's about greatness, and I'm relieved, to tell you the truth.
I'm not going to argue or engage in a showdown with Terence Crawford, he told reporters. We care about the fighters and wish him success inside and outside the ring. He said the sanctioning fees weren't about greed but were meant to support the Jose Sullivan Boxers Fund, which helps retired and struggling fighters. Still, many fans didn't believe him. At the same time, veteran ring announcer Jimmy Lennon Jr. described the feud as ugly and regrettable.
I think, like Mauricio, I'm going to take a high road, but I will say it's unfortunate for the sport of boxing. I think talking about money too much and it is not the high road. And so we've seen some kind of ugly and not so pretty things, exchanges happen here. And so it's unfortunate, but it is a reality. I think there's some things behind the scenes that I have heard about that aren't necessarily public yet.
Talking about money too much isn't the right approach, Lennon said. He added that this kind of mess has always existed behind the scenes, and it's unfortunate to see it spill into public view. Beneath the polite statements and polished interviews, there was genuine fear that Crawford's stand might encourage others to do the same. Then the unexpected twist arrived. Rapper Cameron shared his opinion, and it quickly went viral across sports media.
And to be honest with you, he brought a lot of light that I didn't know about when it came to the sanctioning fees. And it seems like one big extortion game. I've seen Floyd say it before, belts collect dust, the money is what really matters. So as long as he gets his money and everything else, I think we already know he's a perennial world champion, probably the pound-for-pound champion right now.
Cameron didn't hold back. He highlighted what many didn't even realize. He said, "These sanctioning fees are just one big extortion game." Floyd said it before, belts collect dust. The money is what counts. To Cameron, Crawford wasn't acting out, he was being brave. He reminded everyone that Crawford is 42-0, one of the greatest ever, and no organization could take that away. Crawford is still the pound-for-pound king. Cameron said he just exposed the system. His words spread like wildfire across social media, talk shows, and boxing podcasts. For the first time in decades, fans were questioning not just the fighters but the institutions themselves.
If you look at how this thing's playing out, first of all, let me say this. I love that all these guys, all these boxing guys, love the Ali Act the way it is now. I want to see how many of them actually stay there and do that version of the Ali Act instead of the add-on that we're going to do.
Dana White refused to stay silent and spoke with blunt honesty. "You don't need to be a genius to understand what's happening," he said. "The people complaining the most are the real problem. Crawford is his own man, doing things his way. Now it's just a matter of seeing how it all unfolds."
You know what I mean? You don't have to be a fucking rocket scientist to see what's going on with all these guys. All these guys that are crying the loudest are the fucking problems. They're the problem, every one of these guys.
White's words hit hard, not because they were shocking, but because they were honest. He warned that boxing's focus on politics, fees, and power struggles would push away its top talent. And now that warning had come true. After years of dominating the sport, Crawford walked away from the system. He wasn't beaten, he was fed up. The lawsuits, the greed, the constant politics. The fighter who once carried boxing on his shoulders was now walking away from it. Yet the world still wondered, was this farewell permanent or just a break before one last fight?
It took me however many years to get to the point where I'm at. I did it my way. A lot of people can't say that. A lot of people can criticize me and say, oh.
Terence Crawford's choice to step away closes one of the most extraordinary careers in modern boxing. A 3-division world champion, undisputed at welterweight, undefeated in 42 pro fights, a master in the ring, quiet but deadly, his skill matched only by his discipline. And now he leaves on his own terms. Not because he lost, not because he's past his peak, but because he's reached his limit. For his fans, it's a heartbreak, the goodbye no one wanted. For Crawford, it's freedom. Freedom from a system that no longer respects him. As one insider said, they can take the belt, they can take the license, but they will never take what he created.
Crawford's right. And it's rich as from the WBC, because if they upheld all their rules in their little manifesto, if they upheld them all the time, on time, then do you know something? They might get a bit of sympathy from me here. When you have guys holding #1 positions in weight divisions.
Interview 19. Whether this retirement is final or not, one thing is clear. Terence Crawford has forced boxing to confront a truth it's ignored for too long. The fighters are the heart of the sport. And when they start walking away, the whole system shakes. So what do you think? Did Crawford really quit for good? Or is this his way of reclaiming power from the establishment that tried to control him? Share your thoughts below and don't forget to subscribe. If this truly marks the end of Terence "Bud" Crawford's career, it's a chapter the boxing world will never forget. Until next time.